This wasn't a game I expected to surprise me. Nothing about it stood out at first. But spending time with Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, I kept thinking, I didn't expect this. Welcome back to the Asari Gamer, where we explore the art of video games one game at a time. As always, we'll look at this game through the lens of storytelling, world building, visual design, audio and atmosphere, and personal enjoyment. Pathfinder starts out painfully predictable. You're special, demons are bad, destiny has plans for you. If this were all the story offered, I wouldn't be on my third playthrough. But once the queen betrays you, the narrative finally wakes up, and then it doesn't slow down. Power stops feeling heroic and starts feeling dangerous, especially once mythic paths enter the picture. That's where the storytelling becomes genuinely compelling. The mythic path you choose doesn't just affect abilities. It reshapes who you are in the world. An Azada reframes the story as defiant hope. A lich strips it down to cold, horrifying pragmatism. A trickster bends reality itself and dares the narrative to keep up. The world reacts to those choices, sometimes in ways that feel deeply uncomfortable. Nowhere is that more apparent than the Abyss. This isn't dark fantasy window dressing. It's oppressive, cruel, and deliberately unsettling. I'm not even going to go into certain aspects of it here, namely the flesh markets, but the implication alone makes it one of the most disturbing CRPG settings I've played. Your companions mirror this structure too. At first, they feel aggressively familiar, very cliche, but if you stick with them, especially if you stop trying to be the hero, those masks start to slip in ways that are genuinely unnerving. Hot tip, keep Camellia in your party. Let her cook. Pick the evil options, you won't regret it. And then there are the moments the game refuses to explain at all. At one point, I opened my inventory and found a severed head. No quest update, no journal entry, no explanation. It just sits there. Until much later, when additional story progressions quietly give it meaning. The game never connects those dots for you. It trusts you to remember that something was wrong. There are quieter moments like this too. You might notice a keyhole somewhere with no key, no prompt, no indication it matters. Hours later, under very specific circumstances, you're given something that fits. Again, nothing is said. You're expected to remember. These moments don't feel accidental. They feel intentional. The game is choosing player memory over handholding. Wrath of the Righteous isn't asking whether you're good or evil. It's asking what kind of monster you're willing to become once power is handed to you. Despite a slow, boring opening, the storytelling earns its star, not because it's polished, but because it's willing to trust the player, unsettle them, and let meaning emerge long after the moment has passed. The world building is doing more work than it gets credit for. Even though the maps are visually limited, they're well defined. Each location has a clear identity, and you always know where you are. Not because the visuals are flashy, but because the concept of each place is strong. Neathholm stands out immediately with its glowing mushroom caverns and subterranean atmosphere. It's not large, but it's memorable. It feels like a place with its own rules. Dresden is where the world building really shines. As your mythic path develops, the city changes to reflect it, tonally, structurally, and ideologically. Your choices don't just show up in dialogue, they reshape the space you occupy. This isn't a sprawling open world meant to impress with scale. It's a reactive world, shaped by belief, corruption, and ideology. And that cohesion is what earns it the star. The visual design is a lot, not because it's sloppy, but because it has to be. There's so much choice, so much lore, and so many interlocking systems that everything ends up competing for space on the screen. Information layers pile on top of each other, and it takes hours to understand what you're even looking at, let alone what it all means. Menus are dense, tooltips stack, icons demand interpretation, and that's before you even touch the Crusade systems, which operate on an entirely different level. That said, I don't think the developers could have done much better without fundamentally compromising the game. Wrath of the Righteous is built on choice. It is deep, granular, sometimes overwhelming choice. Simplifying the visuals would mean minimizing that choice, hiding systems, or flattening mechanics, and that would undermine what makes this game what it is. So while the visual design isn't approachable or intuitive, it is honest. It shows you exactly how much is happening, whether you're ready for it or not. The audio design is doing exactly what it needs to do, constantly. Every sound cue is functional and intentional. The sharp ding when a trap triggers lets you know what's coming before you even see it. Even loot sounds matter. I personally refuse to use the take-all option because I like hearing each item whoosh into my inventory. It makes looting feel tactile instead of automated. The music matches the game's intensity perfectly. It can be overwhelming, but so is the game. Festival music is vibrant, to say the least, but it fits the moment and the culture it's trying to convey. Combat has exactly the amount of squelching you'd expect, and drums reinforce achievements and quest updates without ever feeling out of place. In a game this dense, that level of audio clarity matters, and it absolutely earns its star. I'll be honest, I didn't think I was going to like this game. The beginning is slow, the setup is cliché, and the characters feel familiar in ways that are just, well, boring. But once you realize that you are in control of the story, everything changes. The game stops being something you follow and starts being something you shape. There's a lot to learn, a lot to read, and a lot to unpack. This game does not hold your hand. There's no yellow paint guiding you where to go or what to do. This is all on you. You have an enormous amount of control over the story, the world, and the kind of power you choose to wield. And when it works, it's incredibly satisfying. That said, when a scene is scripted, you'll suddenly lose all that agency and just stand there while things happen around you, looking like a complete fool. It's jarring, but thankfully brief. I'm on my third playthrough, still discovering new paths, new outcomes, and new consequences. And that alone says everything about how much I enjoyed this experience. I paid $6 for this game on sale. $6. And it was absolutely worth every penny. Despite its slow start and steep learning curve, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous delivers an experience that rewards patience, curiosity, and player agency. With its deep systems, reactive world building, meaningful mythic paths, and commitment to choice, it earns 4 out of 5 stars from me. This is not a game that reassures you. It doesn't guide you, and it doesn't promise that you're making the right decisions. That freedom is the point. And if you're willing to take responsibility for your choices, even when they get uncomfortable, this game has a lot to offer.